right, good morning, everybody. Okay, all right, so we are a day out from, well, 2 days out from Purim, right? So we're in the month of Adar Bet. It's Purim on the full moon. So, let the festivities begin. So one teaching, I know we talked about Purim 2 weeks ago and what's hidden, the hiddenness of the message, and we talked a little bit about joy. Today I want us to talk about how things flip around. Because one of the themes of Purim is that it looked like one outcome was going to happen, and the Jews were absolutely going to be destroyed, and this plan was going to go forward. And then the whole thing got turned on its head, right? This inversion, this flipping over of what you think is going to be the way things are going along. And then all of a sudden, it's something completely different and opposite. And there's at the end, when Haman's plot is revealed and Ahasuerus punishes Haman instead of the Jews, it says that, and like on that day, in the defeat of their foes, the Jews went from mourning, because they were all wearing sackcloth and ashes. They were told to mourn and fast for 3 days. So they went from mourning to joy. And then King David in the Psalms, echoes that and says, "You turned my sackcloth into dancing," right? You robed me in gladness instead of in sorrow. So this idea of how do we flip things over, but also it's not even up to us all the time. It's how does life just do these sudden shifts and changes? And actually that's in the root of the word Purim, because the word pour literally means a lot, like a lottery, like it's random. It's the wheel of fortune, spin the wheel, and wherever it may land, and it can change at any time. And it's also a very Jewish teaching, which is, there's a saying in Judaism, gam ze ya'avor, like this too will pass. Sometimes there's something wonderful in our lives and we don't want it to pass. Sometimes it's like the beauty and innocence of our children and they grow up. Sometimes it's our own youth and our function and our health, and we see ourselves aging and things pass, right? Sometimes we're in a place of hardship and challenge or sorrow, and then it's helpful to remember that mantra that this too shall pass. We won't stay stuck in this place of challenge forever, that there are cycles, and sometimes we can control those cycles through our actions and through our responses, and do our best to move things from a place of difficulty to a place of growth or improving our situation. Sometimes things are completely out of our control, and what's up comes down and what's down comes up. And so the question really is, how do we become more graceful or comfortable with just being with the fluctuations of life as they show up? How do we get more comfortable with uncertainty? How do we respond when things get turned upside down on us? So we're going to play with that a little bit today in the yoga practice by doing some inversions, by doing some things like that feel different, like we're here, then we're there, and just learning to establish a sense of like familiarity with that feeling being upside down. Obviously, the peak poses we're leaning towards are inversions, where we get our feet higher than our head, where we get our heart higher than our head, where we're going upside down. If you have either very high blood pressure or very low blood pressure, limit the time that you spend in an inversion, because that can, you'll definitely feel your heart will race a lot when you're upside down, but it can mess with your blood pressure a little. It can make you a little dizzy. So, and I'm not saying we're going to stay there forever, but we'll play with different poses where we go upside down. So just take care of yourself in the practice around that. Okay, good. All right, let's start with a little bit of a meditation just to set intention. So I'll invite you to just find a comfortable seat. If you want to lie down for this, you can lie down, whatever you need to get yourself comfortable. And usually when I have you come into your seat, we first pay attention to what's touching the ground, but let's just invert that this morning. And let's start with just become aware of the crown of your head. So bring all of your awareness to the crown of your head and actually like the inch above the crown of your head. So you're just starting to become aware of what is above you, just outside, just off of the physical skin of your body. And just notice whatever you notice there. And imagine, you know how like a baby, their fontanelle, that soft opening at the top of their head hasn't closed yet, right? Imagine yourself with just an opening in the top of your skull. And imagine that energy, whatever you want to think about it as, divine flow, life force, is just coming down through the crown of your head and filling the rest of your body with light. So you're just an open vessel to receive this light energy. And you might now just kind of explore internally and feel your body from within, as if it's just this empty vessel being filled up with light. And whatever colors, whatever images show up to you, just explore that. And then you can begin to notice your breath. And with each breath in, just filling up this vessel of your physical being. And with each exhale, just releasing something that you're wanting to release. Whether that's a thought, an emotion, some sensation in your physical body. Just notice what showed up for you, even choosing what to release and the resistance that may be there, right? How sticky, how stuck we get with certain thoughts and emotions and feelings that they're hard to let go of. Keep breathing into that. And then telling yourself, either in the English or the Hebrew, this too shall pass. Gam ze ya'avor. Just inviting in a little more ease and non-attachment, that all things pass, all things change. And if you have some prayer or some intention for yourself in today's practice or for anyone else, just offer that now. As you're ready, you can come back into a child's pose if that's okay for you. If that's not okay with you, if you can be on hands and knees, I would like you to. I'll tell you why. So here, where we're going to be heading is a little bit of a crown, the top of your head massage. So what that will, let me see if this is. So you can start in a child's pose to just breathe there. Ultimately, we're going to place the head to the floor and do a little bit of just massaging forward and back, maybe a little side to side, just to get into the crown of your head. If you have any issues with your cervical spine and that feels unsafe to you, you can also just sit up and use your hands to massage, right? You can give yourself a nice finger to scalp massage here. But just starting in your practice in a gentle way here. So from your child's pose, you're just really breathing into the lungs, breathing into the back body. And then as you're ready, you can bring the knees under the hips as if they were wider in the child's pose. And your hands come to the floor. You'll bend your elbows. The crown of the head comes to the floor. If that doesn't feel right to you, you can also come to a block. And all you're going to be doing is just a little gentle rocking forward and back. There will be a little bit of flexion in the cervical spine here. So just be cautious. Don't overdo any one direction, but you're just trying to get that nice massage on the crown. So I don't know about you guys, but it's very infrequent that we actually give attention, maybe when we're showering and shampooing our hair, or at the hair salon when someone else is shampooing your hair and gives you a nice scrub into your scalp. But this is a nice way to kind of flush out, and you might even feel like it feels like there's, like inflammation or tenderness in there. It's funny because last class when we were talking about Purim, we were opening the feet to connect more to the earth, right? Opening our sensitivity to what connects us below onto this planet. And today we're just opening what connects us above to everything kind of above us, the sky, the cosmos. All right, from here, you can come onto your hands and knees and just take a few cat and cows or circles, whatever feels good for you to wake up your spine this morning, moving through whatever range of motion in the vertebra, in the hips. And when you're ready, you can tuck your toes, you can lift the knees and come into your first inversion of the day, which is your down dog. And for this first one, keep your knees bent more deeply than you would normally, and lift your sit bones up at the highest, right? So you're making like a mountain peak with your tailbone high.
Good. And find your hands, make sure your fingers are spread, your fingertips are pressing down, you've got that weight spread across the whole hand. Good. Shake your head side to side. And then nod your head up and down. And then bring your awareness here again to the crown of your head. So you can close your eyes and do that. But just feeling how now the crown of the head is reaching towards the ground. Good. And as you're ready now, you can pedal through your heels. You can stretch the calf muscles, stretch the hamstrings. And as you're ready, walking the feet towards the hands. And you can let yourself hang here if you want to shake yourself out side to side. You can let the arms swing around with you if you want. And again, just noticing the head lower than the heart. So physiologically, when your head is lower than your heart, your blood pressure drops because your heart doesn't need to pump as hard against gravity, right? It's like there's this, the gravity is just kind of, it just changes the flow of energy in the body. Good, you'll slowly bend the knees, let yourself roll up to stand. When you get to your vertical position, take a few shoulder circles here, just lifting the shoulders up and back down. Okay. All right. Come to the front of the mat. You can bring your hands to your heart. Let's just move a little bit. And every time, this is just the invitation, right? This is your practice, do whatever you need. But every time we fold over and lower the head down, maybe think of what is it that you can like change around, you know what I mean? Like flipping your own thoughts upside down, flipping a mood. How do you turn things over, right? This kind of feeling of like, I'm just going to change the energy, change the flow, change the perspective. All right, hands to your heart. Big inhale, the arms can sweep up overhead. As you exhale, you're going to fold down over the legs. That crown reaches towards the ground. Inhale, halfway up. We're coming into that flat spine where you're trying to pull the belly in. Flatten out the low back with the strength of the abdominals here. As you exhale, fold back down over the legs. Hands can come to the ground, bend the knees. You're going to step your right leg all the way back. And come up into your first lunge of the day. And why don't we just stay here for a minute, bring one palm on top of the thigh and the other palm on top of that one. Yeah. And take a look at where your knee, your front knee is. If it's way back here, I'll invite you to bend it a little bit more deeply. If it's past your ankle, that's not so good. So you want to keep it aligned at the ankle, slightly behind. All right. Take a second, sort of almost like you're pressing your thigh down, like give it a little bit of weightedness and feel how that just pulled your spine upright. This feeling of two directions. Good. Good. And then we'll take our arms out to the sides, spin the palms up to the sky. And then you can bring the arms like a letter V, or they can come by your ears as long as you're not crunching your ears. And then just lift and lengthen. Yeah, lift and lengthen. Slight lean back. You're going to engage that back tush, your right glute to support you there. Good. And then float all the way back down to the ground. You're going to step your front leg back to meet the other one. You're in a plank pose here. Just hold your plank for a minute. Pull the belly in and up away from the ground, working against gravity. Press out through the heels. Good. And then from here, just lift your tailbone high, walk your hands back slightly towards your feet, and you'll find yourself in a down dog again. Right, so the stance of a down dog is a little narrower than a plank, so that's why you need to kind of readjust here. Good. And then again, you can close your eyes, you can just feel into the inversion. So maybe down dog is really uncomfortable for you. Maybe down dog in your yoga practice, you've gotten so accustomed to it that it's actually kind of like, okay, I'm okay being upside down here. I've gotten familiar with this inversion when things get flipped upside down. All right, from here, you're gonna look between your hands. You're gonna come up onto your tiptoes. Yeah, lift that right knee and hug it in towards your chin. Puff up your back as much as you can. Look forward, look forward, look forward. Step that right foot all the way to the front of your mat. And come on up for the lunge on the second side. And again, you can take your hands to the thigh. Depending on the length of your arms, that might not be so comfortable. So you have to go a little deeper into the bend to reach. That's part of why I have you do that. Because like, wait a minute, if I'm straightened up, I can't get my hand to the thigh. Now I have to go deeper into the lunge of the front knee. Good. And you'll feel the opening in the hip flexor, yes? Are we feeling that good, nice hip opener? Good. Bring the arms out to the sides, spin the palms up, and then come into a more full expression of this heart opener, front body opener. Even opening the front body is sort of flipping something on its head from what we normally do. We normally protect the front body and close down. So to open the front body feels a little like out of the ordinary. Yeah. Good. Smile. All right, hands come back down to the ground. We're going to step the back foot up to meet the front foot. Okay, you could take opposite elbows here if you want and use the weight of those elbows to gently traction out, but keep the belly pulling in and up. Bend the knees and slowly, slowly, slowly rise up. All right. We're going to move into some down dogs with some down dog splits. We're going to do a bunch of other stuff. So do what you can and let's just have fun. All right. So bring some joy to the practice. This feeling of like, all right, I'm just going up and down, like a little bit of the roller coaster, but you control the pace of it and the, all right, hands to your heart. Inhale, arms reach up to the sky. Exhale, floating down over the legs. Inhale to that flat back, strong belly, strong spine, knees bend, hands to the floor. You're going to step back to plank this time. Yep. From your plank, you can lower the knees first if you need, or you can lower gently the whole body in a reverse push-up. You're coming down, 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 down to the ground. Untuck the toes. Hands are underneath the shoulders. Push the floor away and just lift the front of the torso up off the mat slightly. Pelvis is down. Hug those elbows strongly into the side waist. And maybe just look slightly forward where the neck is neutral. You're not craning the neck or straining the cervical spine at all, but you're squeezing the shoulder blades together. Draw that belly in and up. You should feel like a nice length happening in the abdominals. Good. Maybe you're shaking. Maybe your heart rate's elevating. That's all good. All right. Slowly lower back down. Come onto hands and knees. Tuck your toes. Downward facing dog. From your down dog, right leg lift high up to the sky. Down dog split. Yeah. So check out your left foot and try to reach that heel back towards the ground so you're not just up on your tiptoes. The left leg is still doing down dog. Squeeze your left thigh into the left
thigh bone, right? So that leg is strong. Your right foot up in the sky, you can circle the ankle and circle the other direction. And then you can drop the heel towards your right tush and then open that hip even more. So the right knee reaches towards the ceiling. We're in a twister stretch. Obviously, this is an inversion. So how joyful is this? Can you find joy? Can you maybe remind yourself, okay, this too shall pass. This might be challenging, but we're not going to be here forever. So let's try to make the best of it. All right, you're going to bring that knee back in line with your left knee. Look forward at your hands. A little bit of core here. You're going to bring the knee forward towards the chin. So you're in a hovering, like a plank pose. Shoulders come forward towards over the wrist. And then reach that foot back behind you. You're going to come forward again. Bring the right knee towards the right elbow. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze your right abdominal obliques. And then bring the knee back behind you. Extend the leg. Last one, you're going to bring that right knee towards the left elbow, a little twist, and bring it back. Woo, lower the foot, come back down to the belly, maybe that slow chaturanga push-up, or lower the knees and come down. Create a pillow for your head for a moment, bend the knees, just flip-flop the knees side to side, the feet. Good. Right. When you're ready, you're gonna come back into a downward facing dog. This time in your down dog, the left leg lifts up to the sky. Yeah, and just hang out in your down dog split. Find the muscle of the right thigh. Engage that. Let your belly draw closer to the thigh. Let the crown of your head drop towards the ground. And then circling through the left ankle. And then bending that left knee up towards the ceiling. Finding your twister stretch. Good. Extend the leg back behind you. Here we go. A little bit of core. So you're bringing the knee all the way in towards your chin, shoulders over wrists for a plank. Squeeze it in. Reach it back to the down dog. And then you're going to come forward, knee to the outer elbow or outer tricep, sorry. Bring it back. And knee goes across the midline to the outer right elbow. Hug the belly in and up. Bring it back. Good. And we're not going to lie down again towards a plank. What we're going to do from here is lift that right leg back up to the sky and look forward between your hands. Bring the knee all the way towards your chin again. Look up, look up, look up. Step that foot forward. Turn the back foot down. And we're coming into a warrior one stance. Woo. Okay. So going with the flow and change and life as it is and presents itself to us, part of that is just pragmatism, like what else are we going to do? Part of it is an attitude of resilience, and part of it is humility. It's humility. So we're going to do a warrior one flow that has that sense of resilience and strength, but also humility. So we're going to start, here's our nice warrior one. We're proud, our heart is open, we feel confident. That's the energy you're drawing in this pose. Like whatever life presents me with, I have an inner faith in myself and in my network of support system and in life and God. Like I can do what needs to be done, right? That sense of strength.
And then we're going to fold it over. The belly comes towards the front thigh. The arms can reach up behind you. Yeah. And this is sometimes called a humble warrior pose. It's the bowing down, the offering the back of your head, right? Like it's, and so much is not within my control, and I surrender. Good. Now press down into your feet, especially that back foot. Pull your belly in nice and strong and lift yourself all the way back up. And you're going to do 4 more of these at your own pace. Okay, so this is a lot of core and a lot of leg strength. As you exhale, you fold all the way forward and down. As you inhale, you come all the way up, or you can change the pattern of the breath. It might help you more to exhale on your way up, whatever works for you. But we're just going between this like up and down, up and down. Yeah. Good. All right, the next time you come up, just have a sense of humor with me, guys, okay? And do your best here. All right, here's what we're gonna do. So you're gonna now start folding forward, but keep your hands to the inside of your front foot, okay? You're gonna place the left hand to the floor, and you can come off the heel of that back foot. You can turn it up onto the toes now if you'd like, okay? Or you can keep the foot grounded, your choice. So left hand comes to the floor. The right hand comes to the inside, shoulder to the inner thigh, okay? So you're really hugging that shoulder down, and you're gonna try to get your arm underneath that front leg. So the right arm reaches under the right leg out to the side. Yeah. Maybe, I'm actually gonna turn my foot back down because I feel like there's more power if I can get to the outer blade of that back foot. I'm going to try to also lift the left arm up off the ground. Sometimes called helicopter pose. This is a strong core. Let me see how you guys are doing. Yes. This is hard. It's silly. It's stupid. But your head is low. Now hang your head, chin to chest. Maybe your hands can come towards each other on the back body. Maybe you can interlace them. Maybe not. Maybe they come up to the sky, whatever it is. Maybe your hands come back down. But let your head hang low. Good. And now lift the back heel up so that you can lower the back knee to the ground. Yeah. Good job, guys. All right. With that back knee down on the ground, you can now heel toe the right foot a little wider and pointing out to the side. You can take your hand to that hip, not the knee. Don't ever press right on the knee joint. That left hand can come a little wider. You're just going to stretch away. This should feel so nice. Yeah. Feel there's a little back bend, a little belly lengthening here too. You guys look so good. Yeah. So just opening up the inner thigh now, leaning back, leaning back. Maybe you want to take this arm up and over. Good. All right. You can bring the hands back to the floor, heel toe that foot back into alignment, take the arm over to the outside, and here we are in our downward facing dog. I'll give you a couple of options here, whatever you want that works for you. You can stay in your down dog. You can take a child's pose. You can come forward from down dog to plank a few times to work your core, or if you need a little bit more active practice this morning, you can take like a slow mountain climber knee to nose, or you can really kind of hop it along. So lots of options just to do whatever you need. Again, it's just about changing the energy. You can also take these Spider-Mans where like the knee comes to the elbow, knee to elbow. So wherever you are, just kind of play there. So sometimes life changes the energy for us without our input. But sometimes we always have free will. We always have the ability to choose at any moment how we react and respond to what life is giving us.
So we can change the energy. We can change our own energy, our own responses, our own mood and feelings about something by getting upside down, by raising our vibration, by doing some core work, right? Okay, from here, take a child's pose. Take a child's pose, just get some regrounding. Yeah. I will give you an option here. If anybody already has a headstand practice, I'm going to go to other inversions soon, but if you have a headstand practice or you just want to get that feeling of being on your head again, I'll give you some options here. So one is to come back to that, massage on your forehead, which is sometimes called rabbit pose. Or you can create like a tripod for your head. Actually, let's do it this way. Tripod with the two hands in the head forming a triangle. Oh, come on, triangle. So I'm like hand, and then the head is the third point of a triangle. And you can just feel what that feels like. And maybe you come onto your feet instead of your knees. That puts a little more pressure. So you're just feeling what that feels like. If that's fine, maybe you bring one knee to like the back of a tricep. Maybe you bring the other knee back to the other tricep. And now you're in what's called a tripod headstand. Right? So I'm just making a little balance on my head. Obviously an inversion. We don't usually stand on our heads. We usually stand on our feet. So, yeah. So just make sure, oh, wow, very nice. I see some of you have a full headstand practice. Great. But that's not necessary. You just take it where you are. Yeah. So Amy, instead of being on your forearms, you would really want to do that. It's okay to do it forearm, but that's a shorter distance to the floor, so you're not giving your neck quite the same space that it needs. I would do it from the hands. So from your hands, two hands down, and then the head, right? Then come up on the toes, and then knee, and that's your tripod balance. Yeah. So your hands need to come back a little from your head. They're too close in line. Yeah. No, back. Yes. Now put your head forward. So forward, not between your hands. Put your head forward of your hands. So it makes a third point of a triangle. Yep. All right. Wherever you were in here. Yeah. And lower your tush a little bit. There you go. Yeah, this is where if I was not on Zoom and I was in person with you guys, I could give you an assist to really spot and help you to understand the energy in your body. All right, when you're ready, come back into a down dog. We have to do the second side of the warrior. So from your downward facing dog, shake out your head, nod your head. Good, find your hips up really, really high. Maybe come up on your tiptoes once and then press the heels back again. Good. You're going to take that left leg up to the sky. You're going to bring the knee all the way in towards your nose. Lift up lift yourself away from the ground. Look forward. Step the foot all the way to the front. Turn the back foot down. And here we are in warrior one. So first find the energy of your warrior one. Yeah. I kind of sometimes like just make a little shelf for my head and just lean back. You can hug the elbows in. You really feel the opening of the front body when you do that. Maybe the courage to open the throat here. That might feel a little scary. And then the arms can come up. So again, this is the two opposites, right? The opposites on that wheel of fortune. Which one is going to be? Are you up, where you're confident, strong, powerful, or are you submitting to what's beyond your control, to what the situation brings with some humility? So here we go, 5 times at your own pace. You're going to let yourself come slow, slow, slow. Your belly really needs to be integrated for this, especially if your low back is feeling achy. So feet are strong, abdominals are hugging in. Every time you lift up, really press into the feet firmly to get that root to help you rise back up.
And feel as proud and bold as you can when you come up. You know, it's like a survival. Like, all right, this is low and base, and here I am, resilient and persistent. Good. All right, you guys know where we're going. So the next time you come down, both hands will come to the inside of that front leg. We're going into that kind of helicopter. So you're gonna come bring the hands down here. You can walk this hand out a little wider. You're tucking the shoulder, the tricep underneath that left thigh and bringing the hand out to the hand out to the side. And just that is kind of hard. So we can just stay there. If you have the core strength, but really present to that back foot as well, lift your core in, really strong core. That's going to be what helps you lift the right fingertips off the floor. And then from here, maybe the hands reach together on the back. Yeah. Wherever you are, don't overextend your neck and look forward. Instead, drop that open crown chakra towards the ground. Chin to chest, lengthen the back of the spine. Good. Release the hands. Come back into a down dog. Lower the knees to the ground. Come into a child's pose. All right. So now for our inversion tutorial. So inversion of choice. Okay. Did you have a question? I see. Yeah. Do you?
You missed this on the side.
What I missed? Oh, thank you. Okay, thank you so much. I love it when people like remind me, because then later I'll go through the practice in my mind. I'll be like, oh my God, I forgot to do this. Yeah, okay, so sorry. So from our lizard pose, right, you lower the back knee, you step that front foot out. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that correction. Good, open up the thigh, and here you are, and you can take this a little wider. Yeah. Hip openers are always great because on a, metaphysical level, our hips hold a lot of the gunk of our emotional, stagnation. All the memories that still bring upset or resentment or trigger, that gets stored here, this interrelational piece. So it's like every time we could flush out in those hips and the groin, that's a good chance to let something go. Good. All right. And then from here, we bring it back. Okay. So actually, before we do, before I offer various options for our inversion, I would love for us to all do a downward facing puppy together. Okay. So what that looks like is you take your hands together and clasp them. And we're making a triangle. This is very Purim. Okay. So here's the triangle. Elbow, elbow, hands. You see how that's a triangle, like a little hamantash in there? Okay, so elbow, elbow, hands. From there, you're on your hand, you're on your forearms and your knees. You're just gonna lift the knees up. So basically you're in a down dog, same thing as a down dog, but on your forearms, okay? That's all a downward puppy is a forearm down dog. So let's just start there and see how that feels. So from hands and knees, you find your elbow, forearms down, hands clap together. You can interlace, or you could just keep the hands together like prayer, whatever gives you more support. And then lift the hips up high, let the head hang down. Your head is not touching the floor. Your head is up off the floor. You're pushing down with the forearm bones, pushing down into the floor to actually elevate your body away from the floor. And then press your heels back the way you would in a down dog to lengthen the back of the legs. Good. You should be able, your head should be kind of free here. You should be able to nod your head up and down, side to side. All right. Options from here.
downward puppy split, kind of like we did in our down dog, but just lift one leg up to the sky. You might be shaking, your heart rate certainly might be getting elevated here. And then you can lower that foot and lift the other leg up to the sky. So it's a forearm down dog split. Good. And then you can lower that foot, lower the knees,
and just come sit up for a moment. Okay, so I'm going to give you a few options for your inversion practice today. Safest inversion practice that anyone can do is just lying flat on your back, legs up to the sky. You can use a strap if you want to give extra support so that you can kind of like rest in the pose, holding the strap around the legs. Or you could do that same pose, but with a block under the sacrum. You can also do it up at the wall, so the legs up or against the wall. That is an inversion practice. The block underneath adds the extra inversion in the pelvis, which is really healthy for lymph node drainage through the groin. Okay, if you want to play with your forearm inversion, I'll show you what that looks like if you have a wall nearby, or even if you don't. So excuse the view of my rear for a moment. Same thing you guys just did, elbow, elbow, forearm. I'm in my triangle, now I'm in my downward puppy, okay? So this is what that looks like from behind. Down dog puppy split. Here's where we play. Maybe you start little bends, little hop from the standing leg, and maybe you come all the way up into an inversion, right? So if you're in the inversion, maybe the wall is supporting you, and then you can play on the other side. Same thing, and you might just stay in the split, but maybe you start playing with the little hop. Just to play, because it's fun, because we're going upside down and it's silly, okay? So that would be a forearm stand as an inversion. And then the last option is if you want to play again with some form of headstand. And again, if you want to do it near a wall, but honestly, headstand is more dangerous if you don't have the core control to know how to do it. So I prefer not to just teach a headstand at the wall because I don't want you kicking up. That's more like if you could hold a headstand, or if you were able, you'd be better off in the middle of the floor playing again with what we did before, which was, you know, the hands, the head, coming up here, and just play with this as a prep for headstand. If you can't quite do this yet, just play with this, right? How do I get myself set up to hold myself here with my strength? If you've got that, then you can bring the knees together. Then you can slowly unfurl the pose and come up into a headstand here. Okay? But whenever you're on your actual head, because of the pressure in your spine, it's less safe. You don't want to kick into that. Forearm, handstands is another option, right? Those are safer. Okay, so just play. Play for the next 3-4 minutes in some inversion pose.
Robin, are your toes pointed or flexed when you're doing the?
So in yoga, we talk about flointing. So it's like pointing, but also flexing. So it's not a full flex, it's not a full point, but it's like you're pulling the toes back towards your face, but you're reaching the heel away. Good. And any inversion pose you're in involves core strength. And again, metaphysically, core strength is about coming back to your center, coming back to yourself, knowing that you are resilient, that whatever life is giving you, you have the strength to get through it until the next thing arises, right? So that's the core strength that shows up even when you're upside down, even when you're thrown for a loop. You know, the core strength is always there. All right. So continue to play or do whatever you like. If you're already on your back, that's great. If you're not already on your back, let's meet there. And then from the back, let's everybody just extend your legs up to the sky for a moment. And just take one more, like circling through the ankles and pointing and flexing. Good. And let's just take a reclining figure 4 stretch here, just to open the glutes. So you'll bend the right knee and take that right ankle over the top of the left thigh. You can then bend that left knee, and you can reach one hand into that triangle here and clasp the front of the left shin or maybe behind the left thigh and just draw that in a little closer to the body. Yeah. And I like to circle here, so there's a massaging out of the sacrum, kind of similar to the way we massaged out the crown of the head at the beginning. And let's just take this into a twist. So you can release the hands. You can either keep the feet the way they are and drop that foot to the floor, or you can slide that right thigh into the left inner thigh as best you can. So the legs are somewhat, crossed knee over knee, and then drop the knees to the side. You'll feel a very big lengthening out of the low back into that mid back. If this shoulder is way up off the floor, I'd rather you cross the arm and let it rest here than be up hanging in space, because that's not so good for the shoulder, right? That won't feel so good there. So just go where you need to for that. And just let yourself breathe into that right lung. You can unwind the legs, bring it back up to the center. We'll cross the left ankle over the top of the right thigh and take that glute stretch here on the second side. And taking it into the twist, knee over knee, and dropping the knees over to the right. Breathing into the left lung. If there's anything else you need for your practice, feel free to do that now. Otherwise, the invitation is to let yourself rest in Shavasana for the next minute. And if you want to come back to what your intention was, do that. If you want to take this time as time for prayer, do that. Maybe you want to play with this mantra, just filling your consciousness with Gam ze ya'avor, this too shall pass. This allowing for life to rise and fall as it does. And as you feel ready, you can transition yourself back to sitting. When you get to your seat, just again, make contact with the crown of your head. And maybe one more time, just allowing this inflow of energy into your body, filling you up. And what is it you need to be filled with today? Maybe you're filling yourself with energy. Maybe you're filling yourself with joy, with positivity, strength. Shalom b'mamav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. May we all be blessed with peacefulness today and every day in the world.
Thank you.